I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Vita and Chip.
Radiohead, ladies and gentlemen.
Karma Police, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so this is a song that was pretty popular when I was in New York listening to K-Rock.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't heavy. It wasn't like dum da da dum. That was like the height of my corn stuff. So I was like, oh my god, Radiohead. I'm changing the channel! So I've never actually got to hear this song. But it randomly popped into my head. I was like, you know what? Let's do Karma Police. Because they did a song with Jay. They did a mashup with Jay-Z.
I guess you give people
Remember when Jay-Z did the Linkin Park thing?
Yes.
Well, he did one with Radiohead too.
Is he in this one?
Well, he is and he isn't. This, I guess, this is the real original one.
Either he is or he isn't.
He was the Jewish lawyer to explain the meaning of the hazmat just in case they use his yeah, and he combined it with this song.
Okay.
But this is the actual pure song.
So it does not have him in it.
No. So
I see what you're saying.
Here we are.
This ought to be interesting.
If you want to see timely political, religio-psychological, social commentary, check us out at Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you want to see this one.
In my my Sori life.
Get it? Sori life? Mm-hmm.
And the kids.
She came up with that on her own.
Yep. So then just check out my channel, My Sori Life, and hopefully you'll find something there that you're interested in.
It's a very interesting channel.
I did 20 questions with the kids. You know what? Every day they'll be asking me, how many am I up to? How many views am I? It's like a competition who has the most views.
Very unhealthy.
Yep. And then Johan asked me again. He was like, he told me, he said, I'm very glad that you told me I got 1 thumbs down, that you didn't lie to me about that. I said, why would I lie to you about it? Not that I wanted to tell him that his little video got a thumbs down. I send a middle finger to you, sir. I'm assuming it wasn't a woman that did such a horrible thing. Yeah. Only men do horrible things.
Right.
And, oh, hey, did you read Jen G's messages?
No.
She said that she waits at the door for the guys to open the door.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, she said that you'd probably be surprised. I'm like, I do the same thing. And you'll like laugh at me when I do that. Why are you coming in here? We're recording.
I sent her a message.
Oh.
She's complying.
What?
There's none.
There's no sodas in the fridge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, leave us.
Can I have an Oreo?
Are you sure there's none? That means somebody stole one, because when I left there was 2. Who stole my soda? Who did it?
Who knows?
Karma Police. I hope the Karma Police get whoever stole my
little
soda.
Thief.
Oh, these kids. I can never have anything.
Well, somebody was up in the room before I kicked them out. And go.
Thank you so much for having us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't mix your drugs. Have a good time.
It's good advice. What?
I told you this was a live show.
You said to do it.
Huh? You said it was just a lyric video. I
No,
told
it's
you
my
this
guess.
was a live show.
You gonna change it?
This is what you'll get when you mess with us.
I've heard this part.
Karma police. I've given all I can, but it's not enough. I've given all I can, but we're still on the payroll. This is what you'll get. This is what you'll get. This is what you'll get when you mess with us.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
You recognize that chorus?
Yeah.
This is what you get when you mess with us?
I don't know what. I'm sure it was on another one of those kids films that I've seen.
This is what you get when you mess with us.
I've heard you doing it, but I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
But it was fun. This was funny to me when he
Funny
says,
song.
"Why weren't you laughing?" I looked at you because it was striking me funny. First of all, did you hear what he said at the beginning? I thought it was good advice.
Don't mix your drugs?
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. How about...
Remember that girl we knew that she would go, there was like certain parties that she would go to where they would like, everybody would just bring whatever random pills they had.
Oh, yeah.
Throw them in a jar and then everybody just digs in there and takes. I think about that sometimes. It literally scares me. I'm like, you could die. You could fucking die that way.
Yeah, how the hell did these kids make it out alive?
Seriously.
It's unbelievable. I just got done reading a story from one of our villagers where this kid took a Percocet.
Yeah?
And 50% of it was fentanyl. He pretty much died instantly.
What do you mean pretty much? Is he dead or not?
Oh, he's KIA. He's done.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. It's no joke. No joke.
No way.
Karma.
So then I was like, it was striking me funny, but then I looked at you and you weren't laughing and I was like, is this like...
Well, I was
Am I,
pissed
like,
off.
missing?
I was pissed off about my soda, so I'm
You
hoping.
should message them and tell them. I think in the fridge downstairs there might be one.
I'm hoping. Well, yeah. Let's see.
We got a little mini fridge with our actually our Patreon people already know about it, but we got a little fridge in our room, so when we're having the studio we can always have like drinks readily available to us. And but
Yeah, seeing as how our entire life is consumed with
YouTube.
With YouTube. So we want
We have to stay hydrated.
We wanted to make it so that we never even have to leave our studio.
I know, it's terrible.
So, well, hey,
That was back when our studio was in our room.
you got to do things other people won't do.
Now we put the kids in the living room so we can have a studio.
That's right. It's got to be done.
They actually like it. They'd all like to be in the living room.
Yeah.
The girls barely are in their rooms. They like to go down to the living room. Anyway,
Hey,
that's
if you were a kid, what would you want to do?
the living room.
Of course.
Please. Anyway, so when he says, okay, my dad, when we were growing up, like sometimes like he'd like do certain things and all of a sudden he'd say, whew, like if everything was just going too fast. And so that's like what it reminded me of when he was saying, he was like calling on the karma police to go after these people. And then he's like, this is what you get when you mess with us. Like, this is what you get, this is what you get. And then he says, for a minute there, I lost myself, phew, for a minute there. So it like reminded me of that, like, whoa, chill, like I just calling the karma police just because, did it say that, that her Hitler hairdo was making me ill?
Yeah.
I don't even know what a Hitler hairdo is.
That's just a short, like, high and tight hair.
Oh my gosh. It's making you ill?
This seems to be like, you know, this is like the theme song for The Office.
Oh, I miss watching The Office.
It's like The Office. It's almost like, you know, like the people that you run into at the office. Because there's always like that oppressed person who works at the office.
Yeah.
And like, and the reason I say that, because he says, I'm still on the payroll. We're still on the payroll.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's the powers that be. This is probably the accountant. You know,
talks in math.
He talks in
like
math. You know, like that's his language. You know, because there are like, you know, of course, being one of the oppressors, I guess, because of the position I'm in my particular field.
Right.
I guess I'm one of the oppressors, but I'm also in back office conversations with the accountants, and the accountants, I mean, I don't think they're terrible people. It's just that all they do all day is numbers, so they have no care at all about the human beings that the numbers are reflecting at all. It's like, oh, this and this and this. Well, if we cut this, this and that, then we'll have this, this and that. And
I could totally see how that would happen.
Yeah, they're just complete, you know,
Yeah.
and their job is just the only human beings they interact with are executives.
Right, and
At
they
least
gotta
in
make
our-
the executives happy, so that's cut the numbers.
Well, they tell the executives, look, if you want to be black this year, do this, this, and that.
Yeah.
If you want to be really black this year, do this, this, and that. So then they're looking at us like,
well,
you
make
know,
it happen.
do what you want to. No, they don't even say that. They don't even care. They're just like, if you want this eventuality here. If you want that eventuality there. And then you know, and then my job, I'm kind of like in between them. So I'm kind of like, well, what about so and so? And because I'm still connected to the people. So, but yeah, it's a.
Yeah, but even if
You
you
definitely
weren't
want
connected to
you
people-
definitely want the karma police to arrest those people. But they're not bad people. It's just their role.
Yeah.
So my buddy was telling me about, you know, I'm going to completely butcher this, but there are different iterations of God in Hinduism, and one of them is like, you know, he's a warrior and he just delights to kill people. But that's his job. Like, how can you be mad at him? It's his job. It's one of the emanations of God. It's just, okay, you go out there and wipe them all out. You know, those two guys are on the horse there talking, and he was like trying to convince his buddy to go and to go kill all those people. Mm-hmm. But they were his family, so he didn't want to do it. I think it was Juna or something like that. Mm-hmm. And Krishna was like, "Yo, you got to kill all those people. They're bad people."
Did he?
Well, yeah, he eventually ended up, you know, killing him and all that. But my point is,
he was just saying
the accountant. You can't say the accountant's a bad guy, even though he doesn't have a lot of, you know, human empathy. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he does have human empathy. I'm sure,
he
like,
said he doesn't have a lot.
If you stubbed your toe, he'd feel bad for you. Mm-hmm. It's just the nature of his position is such that he talks in math.
Yeah.
You know, that he traffics in numbers. Like,
Yep.
that's his job. So how can you be mad at him?
I feel like if you trafficked in numbers, you would still be conscious of, like, the people that are on the other side of the numbers. And I think that if I trafficked in numbers, I would forget that there was people on the other side and it would just be numbers.
Well, there's always that, you know, because I think you're right about that, but then there's other contexts that you know, I've taken part in that have a terrible human cost that, you know, whatever. But it's like, you know, it's, I think Korngal was the name of the documentary, and he was talking about killing people, and then the narrative was like, well, they were going to kill you, they're going to kill your buddy, so you had to kill them. And then the guy goes, well, why did I choose infantry?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's the same thing like with like a firefighter, and the firefighter goes, I'm not a hero because any firefighter would have done what I did, and he's right. But then the question becomes, well, why did you become a firefighter in the first place? Well, it's because you were already a hero.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, well, why did you become a corporate accountant? Because on the one hand, I'm saying, well, you can't blame the guy. That's the nature of the job. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, why would you select a job that's completely mathematical and completely inhumane?
Because you have that type of mind.
Well, right. No, I agree. I don't know. I don't know if.
I don't think those are comparable.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't believe that everybody who signs up for infantry is a bad
And
guy.
nobody's dying in that situation with the math guy.
I don't think everybody who signs up for infantry is a bad guy. I don't
never
believe
said
every
that.
death crew operator is a bad guy. Some of them are. Some of them like to be able to kill other people and have an outlet for their, you know, homicidal inclinations. But some of them are genuinely really good-souled people. You know, so, you know, it just depends. So, but from the perspective of the little guy who's working in the office, this to me, like the accountant, there's this guy, and then there's the middle manager with the Hitler hairdo, who's bossing everybody around.
And we have crashed her party.
Yeah. I think that's
Because they're not listening to her. Oh, it's exactly who I was thinking of.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so weird.
There's always one of them. There's always one that's like got this like Gestapo-like approach to the authority.
Yeah.
You give them any little authority and they always go crazy with it. So he's calling on the karma police to it. It's just funny to me. I don't know why it's such a comical. I've never really felt like I was like one of the little guys at work though. Even though I have been. I started at the bottom. Now we're here. I started at the bottom at work. I didn't start off, but I never felt like I was this, you know.
I know.
You know, whatever.
I know, babe.
What are you laughing at?
That's you and Zoe. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you guys are always the best.
I felt like I was smarter than my managers.
Yeah. You guys could be like shoveling shit at a barn, and you guys would still think, I'm awesome. At the end of the day.
Probably right. But I just think there's some comedy here. Arrest is like you're calling on the karma police. But the karma is like this idea of, you know, like what you reap you'll sow, and if you're a bad person you'll get it back.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's if you feel like you're in a powerless position, then the concept of karma is probably very comforting to you.
Yeah, my meme.
You know, they're gonna get theirs, those bastards.
She used to say, we'd be driving, when she was old, she didn't get her license until she was like in her 60s. Because her husband would always do the driving. Well, anyway, she'd be like driving with us kids, and like we'd be in the car with her, and like she was old, you know, and she was nervous, so she wasn't driving as fast. And so then people would come zooming around her. And so she'd put up the middle finger. She'd say, I'll wave at you in the ditch. So it was kind of the same thing. Like, she was hoping that karma would knock this guy into the ditch.
Wave at you in the ditch?
With her middle finger up.
Oh my god. That's
and like,
terrible.
my parents were so strict. If they would have known that she was doing that in front of us, well, I wasn't going to say it.
Astaghfirullah.
But I thought it was kind of funny.
Astaghfirullah.
And then I went through a phase where I didn't think it was funny anymore, but...
I think like there's really, I mean, I think there's some.
When you're in a position of power, where you feel powerless.
I think there's some utility in that.
Yeah.
Of feeling like, all right, it's all right. The universe, Allah, God, whoever, somebody's going to get you for all the evil that you've done.
Yeah.
You know, or that you've done to me.
Well, the Bible kind of says something like that, like what you reap, you'll also sow.
Yeah, what a man sows, he'll reap.
Yeah, the other way.
Yeah. And there's Psalm 73 where the guy's like he's upset because the wicked are doing all this stuff, and then basically the moral of the story is, yeah, they're getting all the nice and fluffy stuff on the earth now, but you know we'll have God, so you know let them have their little their trinkets here while they're on the earth.
Oh my gosh!
Psalm 73.
But it doesn't mean that kind of attitude is good to have.
I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked.
Yep.
They have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. Blah 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 blah. And then it says. They're quickly taken away by terrors, it says. And as a dream, when you arise, O Lord, they shall disappear, or whatever. So the guy is just like basically saying, screw those guys. You know, God is the karma sheriff.
You're gonna get God.
You're gonna get God. So there's definitely like utility thinking that way. And then of course you have the Jesus way, which is pray for your enemies. Which also carries a ton of utility with it, actually, because it also gives you control over the situation when you feel powerless. Because in that perspective, you're saying, okay, I am going to pray good for a person who does something bad to me, so I'm going to pray that karma gets reversed for this person. And on top of the evil, you know, on top of the fact that they're benefiting from being evil, I want God to give them even more good than what they're getting. Which makes completely no sense from a human perspective. But makes a ton of sense if you want to live a logically consistent life, which most people don't care about, but I do. Because here's the thing. If you want karma to befall the person who's screwing with you, then what happens to you because you're screwing with someone?
Right,
like this guy right here, like all these people who are pissed off about corporate America and about, you know, wage inequality. Hello? You're benefiting from sweatshops and slave shops all over the world. So should that kid in China pray for the karma police to arrest you?
Yeah.
And whether or not you're not buying, it doesn't matter. Your economy is benefiting from really terrible colonialist, fucked up, you know, horrible ideology, and you're benefiting. It's inescapable.
Yeah.
So then, should they call the karma police on you, or is it only for rich people? See, this is the thing. It's like the rich 1%. It's like look at the whole swath of human history. You're in the top 5% ever of human history. Probably the top 1% if we're talking about time immemorial. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, let's resent rich people and get the karma police to arrest. I saw somebody say, it's impossible to be a billionaire and be moral. It's like, okay, well, is it possible to be a thousandaire and be moral compared to the rest of the planet? Serious question. Is it moral that you have a grande frappuccino and then there's some woman dying of thirst and holding her child as a child expires over there in Yemen?
I know. When we were driving through Starbucks and there was a soda in the car and I had to pour the rest of the soda out so I could fit my other drink in the cup holder. I was like pouring it out the window and I'm like, God forgive us.
Right. So if you call on the karma police to arrest your terrible accountant boss or whatever, then after he makes that arrest, he's going to have to arrest you too.
Right.
But if you pray for your enemies, then that means your enemies should be praying for you too. So if you want to be consistent, then I think the pray for your enemies route goes the other way because you're somebody else's enemy. And their obligation then would be to pray for you. So how about we just pray for each other instead of judging each other? Because you don't know where you would be if you were. That's the thing. Like if you were raised in a lap of luxury and you were raised in a family of accountants, you know what I mean? And there's been like 5 generations of like job chopping. You know what I mean? Like, how could you think differently?
Yeah.
It would be very, very hard to think the other way.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. So I just think, the more and more I think about the way of Jesus first, because it's always like, oh, it's hippie stuff, like, oh, pray for your enemies, oh, that sounds really nice. But it's the only way to live consistently, I think.
I don't know if I've even heard hippies say such a thing.
What?
Pray for your enemies.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you don't want that to. You don't want to pray for your enemies.
I'm pretty sure I've heard the hippies more talk about karma.
Yeah, but if you pray for your enemies, then you lose the power of judging them. And really, when you're an oppressed person, the only power you have left is judging your oppressor. It's the only power you have left, you think.
Yeah.
Is the judgment that you have for your oppressor. And Jesus is like, well, how about you take that away, and then the real power comes in not being oppressed by the fact that you're oppressed. And then you can overcome that. And then, who knows, God might change the heart of the person oppressing you.
But it's hard to do, like, at first. Especially when you feel so angry and so taken advantage of. And
well, being black in America, you get a lot of opportunities. It's hard for you to do it.
Yeah. It is.
You know.
No, I don't take that very well at all.
I know. A lot of y'all don't. Wait a second here. It's like taxation. I was looking at some of the grievances. I think grievance 14 or 15 in the Declaration of Independence. They had all these grievances. One of them was that when a British soldier kills a colonist, he is then given a court among his peers and then let off in a mock trial. It's like, oh, really? So you don't like it when a militant police force kills one of your buddies and then gets let off in a mock trial? You start an entire revolution over that. They were saying, let's pray for our enemies.
Yeah.
So, you know, hey, they wanted the karma police.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when I'm thinking about, like, enemies, I'm like, you know, I think about that on my channel. There's a little road rage video that I had, and I wasn't even expressing on that video how angry I literally was. And, like, that was just because he wouldn't let me into traffic. Like, never mind if, like, one of my family members got shot by the... Like, that would be a lot harder to not call down the karma police on that situation. You know what I'm saying? even in the mild situation of somebody not letting me into traffic and flipping me off and all that.
Well, there's that thing, they were going through Samaria, and the people in Samaria were like, nah, we don't believe in you, Jesus. And John was like, okay, I'm going to call down fire and annihilate all of you bitches. Yeah. And Jesus is like, no, we don't do that here.
No.
He's like, you don't know what spirit you're of, he says. You don't know what you're doing, John. We're not calling down fire.
That was John?
Yeah.
Whoa, I thought it was Peter.
No, that's when he got the nickname. Him and his brother.
Oh, Sons of Thunder?
Boanerges. Boanerges or something. The Sons of Thunder. Because they were like, alright, we're going to show you. We're going to call the karma police.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like, I think the most self-aware thing to do is probably to try to pray for your enemies. And this kind of sounds like,
healthy,
this is what you get when you mess with us. It's like, we've got this power, you know, the oppressed worker.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like it sounded like this aggressive, like we're in charge.
Well, no, it didn't. But I think that was the point. It was like these weak-sounding people conglomerating together.
Well accomplished then.
Saying that the karma police, we called the karma cops on you.
Yes, I see.
You know, which, like I said, there is space in the Bible for that. It's imprecatory prayers, right? Like when you imprecate and you ask God to destroy people.
Yeah.
Who are being nasty and mean. You get a lot of that in the Old Testament.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, if you want to be that type of individual, go for it. So, anyway,
what do you give it? What do you give it?
I actually really like the song a lot. It's a 9.9 for me.
Wow, it's an 8 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
An 8? Just an 8?
It was too slow. Like, you can't back to back this with, what is it, Never Bloom?
Well, they won't be experiencing it as back to back.
No, but we recorded both of them back to back.
I don't think you're supposed to say that in show business, but anyway.
Oh, wow.
This one has no taste, so you gave it an 8?
Yep.
9.9. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.